Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we're going to take a fully spoilery look at Chapter 72 of Kaiju number 8. Before we get into that, this will be a full spoiler section, so to give you a chance to click away before we get into that, I'm going to tell you to go check out the links below my video to get yourself a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird. Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out, Book 3 in the series of Human Absurdity. And sometimes I get it mixed up with the other two. Alright, Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out, available on Indiegogo for the month of October. Go get your copy, author-signed copy now. Alright, Kaiju number 8, chapter 72. I was actually driving when this one came out, so I was a little bit later reading it than usual. And this chapter really hit me somewhere tender. And for a chapter that was awesome build-up, that's saying something. So we take off where the last chapter left off with Kikoru Shinomiya loading into her. Basically, she's being loaded into a bullet. I don't know what you call the ammunition that you load a railgun with, but she's been put onto a railgun. And she's launching out of the railgun. Now, last chapter, I had assumed that this was simply how she was delivered to her destination, and the bit about the number 4 suit being a Valkyrie and flying over the heads of the kaiju referred to this delivery method alone, which it probably does partially, but more on that later. One thing that I had wondered about was that Kikoru had fully powered up her suit. She was drawing as much power as she could from her suit, as shown by the concentric circles in her irises. I'm assuming that's because her muscles are contracting so hard that it causes those extra circles on her irises. But it caused me to wonder, why is she powering up her suit before she's even left the Defense Force base? Even Captain Narumi only powers up his suit at the last minute before the attack because these suits take so much strain. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't she just wait until she was delivered to the location before she powered up her suit? Well, we get that fully answered in this. It is not just the ballistic incoming trajectory of being delivered by a railgun. This suit can fly. We see the pod that she's in come apart like a early stage rocket, and then you hear boof, boof, boof as her suit activates, and her suit has a distinct modified jetpack. It is distinctly, looking at it in hindsight, a jetpack for flight, but it's a very lightweight, toned down version. So what it is, it's a harness with 4 projectors that project energy wings. She has a shield to protect her in flight, so that she doesn't run smack into a bird or get bugs in her eyes. But when we've seen that shield working before. And the Uno organ has winged. So this is noted as the only flight capable weapon. And come to think about it, flight capable kaiju are fairly rare. We've seen the wyvern kaiju, and the little kaiju that took over Kafka's body could fly, but they're all lumbering beasts with a very low mobility when it comes right down to it. The wyvern kaiju can soar. They're like condors. They can get up, and once they have enough momentum, but they can't really fly for short bursts. The wyvern kaiju were basically running around on the ground as soon as they wanted to actually engage the Defense Force. So the number 4 kaiju that this weapon was carved out of must have been fantastic aerial predators zipping around like a kestrel or a northern harrier, striking like lightning from low elevation. Because even with modern airplanes, that's a limitation. Those more powerful weaponized airplanes have really low agility at low speeds and low altitude, and they have to strike from super high up, which they can do, but during the transition from manual controls to artificially targeted controls, that was a huge problem with bombers, and it really defined the difference between the British and American air strategy during World War II. But anyway, back to Kaiju number 4 and weapon number 4. That you'd think in a chapter with such an awesome combat reveal that would have been my major takeaway. but it's not. She goes and engages the weird sphinx with eyes like weapon number 1. Now, I thought these sphinx creatures were going to be a much bigger deal than they were. She goes in and she whacks them out, and it looks like I was partially wrong about that axe. Maybe it was the foreshortening of the scene we saw it in. It looks a lot longer. It still seems to be distinctly shorter than the halberd. What's the name of that? Yeah, the halberd. It still seems distinctly shorter than the halberd her mother had, and possibly shorter than her other one. I don't know. Perhaps it was just the her axe, her battle axe. A very well-designed battle axe, very much like a traditional battle axe, modified with modern-day technology. But it seems longer in this scene. The handle seems much longer in this scene than it was in the scene where we saw her mounting up onto her delivery system. And it makes me think that either this is an extending axe, which is a kind of a bad idea. I mean, the Defense Force clearly has the technology to make an extending axe work, but points of extension are points of weakness, and this is an axe. You don't see a folding axe for a very good reason in real life. But anyway, so I have questions about the length of that axe, which hopefully will be answered in future chapters. But anyway, she swoops in, knocks out these Sphinx monsters, and then there's some funny byplay between her and Captain Narumi. We get to see her just destroying these Sphinx monsters and her backup struggling just to keep up with her, adapting to her fighting style on the go. She's got really good backup in this. And then the scene flashes back to Baldy, her daddy's best friend. And we get to see him just genuinely smile. And this is a completely different expression than with any that we've seen on this man's face. In the past, it's clear that he's been used to serving as the ruthless counter to General Director Shinamaya's optimism and compassion. He's been like, the second in command. The guy who always points out the opposite of what Director General Shinamaya wants, not as an opponent countering him, but as a second point of view, trying to Swiss cheese model to make up for any blind spots that Director General Shinamaya have. This is one of his closest friends. So this is basically Kokoro's uncle, for all practical purposes. And he's commenting that she's always had her father's offensive capabilities, and now she has her mother's mobility on top of that. She is the spitting image, all right, of both of you. And man, that scene just hit me hard. Maybe it's because I recently had an interaction with my dad where I'd just been out just floating in the river, resting my joints, enjoying a quiet minute down in the depths of the forest. And I came out back up to the house, and I mentioned what I was doing to Dad, and he just got this far off stare in his eyes, and he said, your Grandma Betty used to love to do that. And it just meant something to him on a very profound level. And you get the feeling where, yeah, it means something to you too, but you see someone older than you, more experienced than you, and they say or do something, and you realize that something you've done means so much more to them than it does to you, and you're probably not going to understand that until you make it to that age. And I distinctly got that feeling here, and Matsumoto really managed to capture that look in his eyes, that delighted, half melancholy, half just pained look that old men get when they look at you and see something that came even before their time. And if you look at the panel, there's not much ink there, very few lines. It's got that simplistic shonen anime style. And yet Matsumoto just does so much with it. I think there is a tear. There might be a tear, or it might be just a wrinkle on the guy's face, but you can just tell that this old man is experiencing one of those moments, and it really hit me and struck me. And despite all of the awesome combat in this chapter, despite the fascinating byplay between the captains, despite the fact that the chapter ends on this awesome panel of Vice Captain Hoshino with a dragon suit, because that tail of his, that is the tail of a human dragon hybrid. I know my manga, I know my anime, I know my webcomics. Vice Captain Hoshino is now officially a half human, half dragon when he's wearing that suit. He's got the ridges on his back. He's got that tail balancing out. And that tail, okay, what do tails do? Tails give balance. Tails offer counterweight. It's increasing his mass, changing his center of gravity, and giving him the ability to balance at weirder angles than he would with just the clumsy human bipedal mode. And this suit is just amazing. I cannot wait to see it in action. We can't see his eyes. You can just tell that he's incredibly stressed out. We don't even see him from the front, but you can just tell that he is just already fighting that suit. And anyway, even though Vice Captain Hoshino is probably one of my favorite characters, even though this is a super awesome scene, and he's about to be airdropped into combat, even with all of that, the main mark that this chapter left on my brain was the look in the now director, what's that, Itami? What's his name? Anyway, Director Baldy, or Director Uncle Baldy. I'm calling him Uncle Baldy. It's just the look in Uncle Baldy's eyes. I don't know. Is that just me? Am I the only one who was most affected by that third panel on page 18? Because it's just an unassuming panel that could have come out of almost any manga, but that is really what stuck with me. That melancholy look of the passing generations, seeing the bit of the past revived in the next generation. And on that note, Matsumoto really did a good job crafting a face that was the perfect mix of Aisto Shinomiya and Hikari Shinomiya when he created Kikoru. Anyway, so those are my fully spoilery thoughts on chapter 72. And some other notes. Hasegawa really seems to be taking the brunt of the organization, sifting all the information from all the different divisions. Okay, so we have 12th, 11th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. We get a map of Japan with where the other 16 divisions are located. So we have 16 divisions, 16 captains. Not every captain has a vice captain, it turns out. So you've got southern divisions. 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. 4 divisions in the south. So there's 4 divisions in the south, 4 divisions in the west, 4 divisions in the north, and 4 divisions in the east. Now this is interesting. The southern divisions, the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, have the smallest area to cover. The western divisions appear to have the largest area to cover, but the northern divisions might have the largest area to cover. But so it looks like the greatest concentration of divisions, but they're the lowest numbered divisions, so they might be the weakest and the smallest, is the south. And the rest of the divisions seem to be pretty evenly distributed through the north, east, and west. Well, that's interesting. I'm definitely keeping an image of this map handy. But yeah, that was my takeaway from this chapter. What was your major takeaway from this chapter? Was anybody else there as affected as I was by page 18 and the look in Uncle Baldy's eyes? Anyway, hit that like and subscribe button. Go check out my book, Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out. Available on Indiegogo for the month of October, where we've made it over $1,000. I'm really excited. Hopefully it will be even more than that by the time this video airs. Share it around. Let people know if you like absurdity. and laughing at your fellow humans, these books are for you. Peace out, my wonderful viewers. Humans are weird. We took a vote, and humans are weird. I have the data. 2 books in a series of human absurdity. Go check out these short story collections. What will our little green friends think of us when we finally do make it to space? Find out the answer in 2 books of human absurdity. Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, and Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play.